Today we're going to study the passive voice. This is a very important structure in English. It can seem a little difficult at first, but it is extremely common, both in spoken and written English, and in formal and informal situations. So it's really worth understanding it well. Let's begin with something you already know, the active voice. In a normal sentence, we usually follow this order: subject plus verb plus object. For example, I clean the house or she buys a new rug. In these sentences, the subject, like I or she, is the person who does the action. Now, in the passive voice, the structure changes. The object of the active sentence becomes the subject of the passive sentence. So instead of focusing on who does the action, we focus on the result or the object. The structure is object plus verb to be plus past participle plus by plus subject. For example, the house is cleaned by me, or a new rug is bought by her. So why do we use the passive voice? One important reason is when we want to emphasize the object, not the person who does the action. For example, the studio is decorated beautifully. Here, we are more interested in the studio than in who decorated it. Another very common reason is when the subject is unknown or not important. For example, my wallet was stolen yesterday. We don't know who stole it, or it's not important, or a new balcony is being built. We don't need to say who is building it. We also use the passive voice in more formal writing, especially to avoid using I. For example, the report will be finished tomorrow. This sounds more formal and objective. And sometimes we use it when the subject is very long to make the sentence sound more natural. For example, it was announced that the new building will include central heating and air conditioning. Now let's look at how we form the passive voice. The key idea is that we use the verb to be in the same tense as the main verb in the active sentence, and then we add the past participle of the main verb. For example, I clean the room becomes the room is cleaned. The verb clean is in the present simple, so we use is in the passive. If we take a past example like I cleaned the room, the passive is the room was cleaned. Again, we use was because the tense is past simple. If the sentence is in the present continuous, like I am cleaning the room, the passive becomes the room is being cleaned, so we include being. Let's look at another example. The police were following me. In the passive, this becomes I was being followed. Notice how we're following changes to was being followed. The structure changes, but the meaning stays the same. We can also use the word by if we want to say who did the action. For example, the wardrobe was moved by my brother or the sheets were washed by my mother, but often we don't include it because it's not necessary. Sometimes a sentence has two objects, especially with verbs like give or teach. For example, she gave me a cushion. In the passive, we can say I was given a cushion or a cushion was given to me. Both are correct, but the focus is different. Let's use some vocabulary to make this more practical. You can say, the chest of drawers was moved into the study, or the duvet has been washed, or the tap is being repaired. These are all examples where the object is more important than the person doing the action. So, to finish, remember this. In the passive voice, the focus is on the object, not the subject. We use to be plus past participle, and we change the tense of to be depending on the original sentence. With practice, you will start to recognize and use the passive voice naturally.